All right, welcome everyone. In this video, we are going to discuss how to access a bunch of files or some files that you're going to need to build a Quarto website that we're eventually going to publish in GitHub using GitHub pages. So if you're watching this video, that means you are prefer not to use RStudio locally on your computer, and you're going to work with these Quarto files using Posit Cloud, and that's totally fine. If you're up for it, it is a little bit easier. You'll get a little bit more benefit of integrating with GitHub if you work with these files on your computer using a local install of R in RStudio. So you can certainly give that a shot, but if you've tried it or you're not interested at all, okay, no problem at all. We'll work with everything in Posit Cloud and we'll be just fine. So the files that you're going to need, here's the link to the project in Posit Cloud where you can get them. So you'll just click on this link or enter this address in a fresh browser. You can click on the link over here if you're looking at this web page. It's the same link. And that will open up a web page like this. You might have to log into your Posit Cloud account, but now you're working with this project. And this is a public shared project that you do not have permission to edit and save those changes. So anything you do with the files in here are just temporary and they're not going to be stored. So the very first thing you're going to want to do, and there are files inside of this demo site folder that you're going to want to work with, but the very first thing you're going to want to do is click this link over here that saves a permanent copy. So I'm going to do that, and it might take a second. That was really fast. So it created a copy in my workspace, and this by default is called creating a Quarto website. And now this is mine. When I see the top of my toolbar that looks like this, I know this is now my personal copy and I can make changes here. And so everything that you're going to need, all of the files that you need are located in the subfolder here called demo site. And there's actually some additional files in here that we'll get to later. You have some image files that we'll get to later, but the main files that you'll want to open up for now, there is a Quarto, a file named _quarto.yml, the YAML file. So you'll want to open that file up. You can see that opened over here. You'll want to open up a file called index. That is partially covered. Here's the index.qmd file. So these are going to be the two main files that we're going to work with in some of the other videos. So that's one thing to keep in mind. I am going to be working in RStudio in the other videos, just so you know, but everything works very, very similarly over here. I don't think I could have created this in here. Yeah, so you can just go back to this project if you need these files. And one other thing that's going to be useful for you is going to be to download these files locally on your computer when you're done working with them. So when you're done working with this project and you've made all of the changes at the end of this video, you're going to go back into your workspace and you might have other things here. And then you're going to want to export this, and it's going to take some time. I'm going to exit it because I have these files on my computer, but you're going to want to export this project to and download it onto your computer so that you'll be able to upload those files into GitHub. So we're going to need to upload those files into GitHub. So one thing I'm suggesting is an easy way for you to do this is to export those files onto your computer and then upload those files into GitHub from your local computer. But you can sync your Posit Cloud account with GitHub, and later on, I'll point you in the direction of instructions that you can do that. But I just want to say that my version, this was called demo site. If you're going to sync things with GitHub using the terminal, then you'll want to have a repo that you created in GitHub, which is called demo site. So you want that to be the same. If you're not going to use the terminal to enter command lines and you're just going to prefer to click and drag files along, then it really doesn't matter what you called your GitHub repo. You can call it anything you like. And the fact that it has a different name than demo site isn't going to be an issue. But like I said, if you do want like to try and sync your Posit cloud through GitHub using the terminal, which is more complicated, but if you're up for that, then you'll just want to name your GitHub repo demo site. Okay, so now whether you're using Posit Cloud or whether you're using RStudio, we all should have access to all of the files that we're going to need to edit. So I'll be working with those files in the future videos using RStudio, but again, it's going to look exactly the same if you're using Posit Cloud.